Hey review family, it's your boy Bucky Tucky here. It's Shay Morris, the review guy here, reviewing music for the love of music, and I'm back again to bring you another video. And in this one I'm going to be covering the new Dropthehammer record entitled Ultima Bellum. These guys are a Croatian death metal and a grindcore band that came around in the midway part of the 2010s, and this is their second studio-length album, a pummeling, swirling death grind mix, a bit reminiscent of Nails, just a lot less heavy, which is not to discredit this band at all, it's just to say how heavy Nails is. They mix grindcore and death metal pretty good in a death grind way, kind of like Cattle Decapitation or Benighted or any other band in that genre. They'll cycle through these distorted, fuzzed out guitar licks and drums that are simultaneously pounding your face in but can also get a little bit chuggy in the death metal vicinity. When it comes to vocals, pretty much stereotypical for death grind, not in a bad way. You're getting these standard growls and you're getting these shrieks, and they mix the two very regularly. When it comes to the production, I maybe think it could have been a little bit rawer, a little bit more toned down, and that's coming from someone that enjoys a lot of these slam metal bands, a lot of the deathcore bands that do have really clean production. Hell, probably my favorite death grind band, Cattle Decapitation, is one of the best produced extreme metal bands. More so as a case-by-case basis, and where the wheel falls on this record is I do kind of feel like the production doesn't do it as much credit as it necessarily could. I like that it's crushing, I like that it's focused and punchy, especially on the drum work front. The guitars also have this crisp crunch to them, and the vocals do a good job of not just swallowing the mix whole. Everything's equalized well, but with some of these just more despondently gritty parts, some of these really chuggy parts, some of these very down-tuned parts, I feel like if the production was more rigid and more rough around the edges, it could just give it so much more of a filthy resonance to it, which is something admittedly that I do enjoy in a lot of my grindcore music especially. With the grindcore sections, the production works fine. When it's speeding past you in these flurries of riffs and drum work and swirling vocals, it sounds good. It's just mostly on those lower sections. I enjoy the fact that this record gets in and out before the 30-minute mark. I was feeling like they were actually going to overstay their welcome a little bit listening to this, because near the midway point I was hearing a lot of the same ideas kind of regurgitated, a little bit recycled from previous material that was on this record as well as their first record. Not so much that they were running out of ideas, it was just they were administering the same ideas but tweaking them ever so slightly to make them sound a little bit different. Fresh enough to where they're still unique in the grand scheme of this album, but not unique enough to be something that is going to blow you away each track. This is already a longer record than your standard grindcore album that's usually 50 tracks in 12 minutes. And that's being generous, if that. And I guess the only other thing I could really comment on with this record is they do play it a little bit safe. Now, I understand dipping into the whale of the terminology of calling it safe is a little bit gratuitous, or might at least seem that way. If a newcomer to the genre is going to listen to this record, they might think it's the heaviest shit they've ever heard. They might think that these are the most distorted, chunky, powerful riffs, 10-ton drums, and amazing vocals that are just slobbering. The shrieks especially feeling like they have the most massive gobstopper in their cheeks while they're recording it. You don't even have to be an aficionado. I think someone that has listened to a lot of death grind especially might find this to be a little bit underwhelming. Me personally, I think it's heavy, I think it's nice, I think that the band obviously knows the wheelhouse they're playing in and they're staying in those confinements. I'm hearing a lot of influence coming from Pig Destroyer, I'm hearing a lot of influences coming from Nails, I'm hearing a lot of influence coming from some of the classic grindcore bands, especially Napalm Death. Some of those shrieks really do remind me of Barney Greenway. But I can't help but feel like this is a little bit sanitized, that it is not as gruesome as it necessarily could be. And with the subject matter and with the instrumentation, it's a little bit surprising that it came out that way the other side. But nonetheless, it's a pretty gratifying death grind record that mixes the styles pretty well, and a band that obviously knows what they're doing. A band that I'm going to be keeping my eyes on quite a bit in the future, considering this is only their second studio-length album, and they made a pretty damn good release. Whereas you have a lot of grindcore bands that have been doing it a lot longer and still aren't really finding their footing. I don't think they drown in their influences too bad here, and more so I'm just curious to see what the future is going to hold for the band. But for now, I'm going to be giving this album a 7 out of 10. And that is a wrap. Have you heard this new Dropthehammer record, Ultima Bellum? If you have, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about it. I would love to discuss the record with you. Be sure to stay for the end screen and links to videos that you might be interested in. Like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is. My name is Jay Morris, the review guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.
Go ahead, live your best life.